It's a day before AIPAC's annual conference, and pro-Palestinian groups are united in protest at the organization's influence over U.S. foreign policy.
What do pro-Israel advocacy groups, evangelical voters, Jewish political donors, and a best-selling memoir about Appalachia have in common? At first glance, nothing. But look closer, and you'll see they intersect in one of the most fascinating political evolutions in modern America: the rise of JD Vance. Tonight, we're unpacking the networks, the alliances, and the political incentives that connect pro-Israel advocacy and one of the Republican Party's most talked about figures. And no, it's not a conspiracy story, it's a coalition story. Political scientist Dorf Waxman argues that what people often call the Israel lobby is actually a diverse ecosystem you've got. AIPAC and institutional policy groups, Jewish federations and community organizations, evangelical Christian Zionist movements, think tanks in DC, Republican and Democratic pro-Israel PACs. And here's the key: American Jews themselves are politically diverse. A majority traditionally vote Democratic. Fishman, 2021. That alone complicates any simplistic narrative about unified political backing. So when we talk about support for politicians like JD Vance, we're not talking about a single pipeline of influence. We're talking about overlapping coalitions.
I'm JD Vance, and I approve this message because whatever they call us, we will put America first.
JD Vance didn't enter politics as a foreign policy hawk. He entered the national stage through Hillbilly Elegy, a memoir about working-class America. But once he stepped into Republican electoral politics, he entered a party that, especially after the Trump years, had made strong support for Israel almost a defining identity marker. Under Trump, we saw the US Embassy move to Jerusalem, the Abraham Accords. A hardline stance on Iran research shows Republican elites increasingly frame support for Israel as part of a broader civilizational and security narrative. If you're building a future in Republican politics, aligning with that consensus isn't unusual, it's strategic. Here's where nuance matters. American Jews are not politically monolithic. In fact, scholars emphasize intense internal debate over Israeli government policies. However, some conservative Jewish donors support Republican candidates. Some pro-Israel PACs back candidates across party lines based on policy positions. Evangelical voters, who are not Jewish, are among the strongest pro-Israel constituencies in America. So, when a Republican candidate like Vance expresses strong pro-Israel views that can resonate across multiple networks, conservative Jewish donors, evangelical Christians, national security hawks, party leadership circles, that's coalition politics, not ethnic bloc politics. The Israel-Hamas war intensified partisan divisions in America. Younger voters show more skepticism toward Israeli policy. Republican leadership doubled down on strong pro-Israel messaging. In this climate, figures like JD Vance reinforce alignment with military aid commitments, strategic alliance rhetoric, opposition to BDS. Political scientists argue that these stances now function as signals of party identity within the GOP. So, let's ask the question that made us to this place. Was JD Vance built by pro-Israel networks? There's no scholarly evidence supporting that narrative. Instead, research suggests his rise reflects broader Republican realignment. Pro-Israel positioning aligns with party incentives. Support flows through institutional channels, PACs, donors, ideological alliances, not through secret ethnic coordination. That distinction matters. American politics runs on coalitions. Interest groups advocate for policy. Politicians respond to incentives. That's how the system works.